Hello, I'm Mrs. O'Malley, an English teacher here at Leiden. Welcome to our tutorial on sentences. You should learn the following terms by the end of this tutorial: sentence, subject, and predicate. Let's get started. A sentence expresses a complete thought. The writer or speaker is not suggesting that they're going to give any additional information. The sentences below are both complete thoughts because there's no promise of additional information. If the first sentence just read the bird, we would be left wondering, well, what about the bird? If it read when the bird flew, it would not be a complete thought because the writer is suggesting that something else happened when the bird flew. As it stands, it's complete. The bird flew. A sentence must also have a subject and a predicate to be a complete sentence. Each of the sentences below has a subject and a predicate. In the first sentence, the simple subject is bird. The simple predicate is flew. In the second sentence, the simple subject is students, and the simple predicate is are. We will discuss these ideas on the next slide. I'm going to talk first about the predicate, which is sometimes called the main verb of a sentence. I'm starting with the predicate because I think that it's easier to locate the subject if you can first determine the main verb. Now here I've already used predicate and main verb interchangeably. I'll continue to do that, and your teachers here at Leiden will sometimes use the term predicate and sometimes use the term main verb, or just the verb of the sentence. But just understand that those are used interchangeably and it means the same thing. So the predicate is the main verb of a sentence. It can be an action verb or it can be a linking verb. In an action verb, the verb tells what the subject is doing. Consider some of the actions that you know: run, jump, read, write. Those are all actions. Or if it's a linking verb connects the subject of the sentence to a description about that subject. Linking verbs include the to-be verbs like is, are, was, were, or a linking verb can also express condition like seem, feel, or appear. Let's look at the first sentence. The bird flew. How do you find the predicate of this sentence? Ask yourself, is there a main action? There is. Flew is the action of the sentence. Flew is something that the bird is doing. So you know that flew is the predicate of the sentence, the main verb. In the next sentence, the students are excited. Is there an action verb in the sentence? There's no action, so we need to look for a linking verb. Remember, the linking verb links the subject to more information about the subject. The word are is linking students to excited, which would be more information about the students. So are is the predicate of this sentence. Are is the main verb. The subject of a sentence tells who or what the sentence is about, or who or what is doing the action. In our first sentence, the bird flew, we already determined that the predicate of the sentence is flew. So now you need to ask yourself who or what flew. Who is doing the action? Because the subject is who is doing the action. So let's look who flew. The bird flew. So we know bird is the subject of the sentence, the one that is doing the main verb. In the next sentence, the students are excited. What is the subject? We said earlier that are is the predicate of the sentence, so now you should know that students are. Students would be the subject of this sentence. So let's do some practice. In the following sentences, circle the subject and label it S, and underline the main verb and label it V. Pause the video now so that you can give yourself some time to complete the exercises. Okay, now that you've had some time to complete the exercises, Let's take a look. For the first sentence, if you ask yourself what the verb of the sentence is, you probably underlined rides. Good job. But now ask yourself, who rides? The answer, Susie, would be the subject of the sentence. Susie rides her bike to school. Susie is the subject, rides is the predicate. The next sentence is a little tricky. We haven't seen one like this yet. You probably realize that John is the subject of the sentence because he's the one who is doing the action. The problem is that you probably recognize is as a linking verb because we talked about the to be verbs as linking verbs earlier. In this case, is actually used for verb tense purposes. Consider, if you have a case like this, consider changing the verb tense to see if the is for linking or auxiliary purposes. You could say to yourself, John plans a trip, or John planned a trip. This tells us that the main verb is actually planning. Is in this case is just used as an auxiliary verb to tell us that he is in the process of planning. So, is planning would be the predicate of this sentence. Now, in the third sentence, this should help us. This should be an easy one because we just talked about the verb is. What is the predicate? Is, in this case, is a linking verb because there's no other verb attached to it. There's no action here. So is a linking verb. Who or what is? If you ask yourself that, dog is shows us that dog is the subject of the sentence. Is links the subject dog to more information about the dog. My dog is friendly. Hopefully this tutorial has helped you better understand the idea of complete sentences, subjects, and predicates. Thank you. Oh, do you